It's been one of the most divisive elections in our nation's history.
And I'll do the very best I can if I'm fortunate enough to win today.
It's looking very good. Right now it's looking very good.
But soon we will know who will be our next president. Tonight, we are on your side, taking a look at problems at the polls and taking your phone calls as we wait for the election results to come in. It's Decision Night in America. First Coast News at 6 starts right now.
Well, finally,
Jeannie,
Election Day is finally here. Good evening, I'm Jeannie Blaylock.
And I'm Anthony Austin. You know, millions of Americans heading to the polls today to decide who will be our next president, including thousands of you right here on the First Coast. Will it be Hillary Clinton or will it be Donald Trump? That's the question tonight. And here on our First Coast, you have about an hour left to cast your ballot in this historic race.
Right now, we have team coverage from all over our First Coast. We are on your side this evening.
That's right. And we are going to begin tonight with Jessica Clark. She is at the Duval Supervisor of Elections office. Jessica.
Good evening to you. We are watching the canvassing board do their thing, and that is go through ballot by ballot, the provisional ballots, the absentee ballots, the mail-in ballots, making sure that each one is accurate and can be counted correctly. So far, at last check, 72% voter turnout here in Duval County. It's expected to see about an 81.7% voter turnout, very high. And the supervisor of elections here in Duval County says one of the reasons he thinks the voter turnout is so high is because of some voters' fears of voter fraud. He says there are systems in place, many checks in place, both with paper receipts and electronic receipts to make sure that every vote is counted.
And then when you get to the network, that scares a lot of people. It's a private network, and we send that data in microbursts. So it'd be very difficult for someone to hack it. In fact, we haven't been hacked. According to the Secretary of State, at all.
And the amount of technical staff on standby throughout Duval County has more than doubled for this particular election because they were expecting a high turnout. And so we've met some of these people called rovers. They've been going to the different precincts, making sure that all of the machines are working accurately. We're live at the Duval Office of Elections in Jacksonville. Jessica Clark, First Coast News, back to you.
All right, Jessica Clark, thank you. Well, we're hearing some complaints from you tonight that you're showing up at the polls and finding out that your vote has already been counted. Well, of course, that's not right. And some of you have reached out to our On Your Side team. Ken Amaro joins us now with the latest. Ken.
That's correct, Anthony. I'm here at the Hidden Hills Country Club. It's precinct 213, where it's been very busy and 80% turnout. And you know, anyone who waited until today to cast their ballot had to pack some patience and some confidence because the lines were long and because of those pre-election reports about rigging. In fact, we ran into a voter named Catherine Caldwell. That was her experience. This is what she had to say.
It's very frustrating because I want to know that my vote counts. And I asked them, how did I vote initially? And they laughed because, you know, I'm not sure what's going to happen at this point with my vote. And I'm concerned that there are many others like me out there. And that's when I stepped forward.
And there have been some others, and what we've done is we've taken those names, we've turned them over to the Supervisor of Elections office. Supervisor of Elections has already contacted those individuals and reassured them that their vote will be counted. They were given provisional ballots, which usually means that they have to have an affidavit that they are the person who is actually voting, the one that's registered, and all that will be reviewed. And the Supervisor of Elections says that their votes will be counted. They just have to go through this process. Back to you.
All right, Ken, thank you so much. In Mandarin, things are going smoothly now after confusion this morning. Thousands of voters affected after the wrong polling location was sent on their voting cards. On Your Side's Clark Foraker continues our team coverage tonight. Clark?
Yeah, Jeannie, it's at precinct 602. That's in the Mandarin area right off Old St. Augustine Road. The story goes something like this. The Supervisor of Elections had to change the polling location had mailed most of the voters in this area, but of course people didn't get it, lost in the mail. You know the regular story. And so a number of people just went to the wrong place this morning. There were poll workers at the wrong location directing voters here to the right location. I'm happy to report things have been smooth all day long. In fact, if you're still coming out to vote here in Mandarin, there's no line right now, plenty of parking and good signage, as this is a new polling location here in the Mandarin area. It's at the River Sciences Academy off Old St. Augustine Road, and they are ready at this new location to see voters. Live in Mandarin, I'm Clark Foraker, First Coast News.
Clark, thanks so much. 29 electoral votes are up for grabs here in Florida, and nearly 13 million people are registered to vote. We sent our Hani Rodriguez and Stephen Dial down I-95 to hear how Floridians are feeling about this election. They join us live now. They're all the way down in Miami tonight. And Stephen and Hani, let me guess, people all over the state are saying today couldn't come soon enough, right?
We've heard that everywhere. Yeah, it's a day that everyone is to be over, and we've been gauging the public, gauging the voters as we road trip all the way down from Jacksonville to Miami. We talked to millennials, which is an important vote, and you also talked to...
We also spoke to some Cubans here in Miami, some other Hispanic folks who tell me they're eager for this election to be over, but certainly they stayed a little bit conservative, which we were eager to figure out who they were going to vote for in this election. They're certainly supporting Trump.
Wednesday can't come fast enough.
If Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump win these two groups, the chance of taking the White House is greater. But millennials we spoke with today say they're undecided.
I was just picking like whichever disease you want to have the most.
Based on the way that he's spoken, based on his general candor, based on his general demeanor, you know, I feel like it's like disrespectful.
Michael Ortiz, a Miami-born who's also of Cuban descent, says the Hispanic vote is dependent on which generation of voters you ask.
A lot of them are supporting Trump. You know, the ones that are supporting Hillary are like embarrassed to say so. It's like, it's just, it's ugly. It's like the most divisive election I've ever seen.
I never like Democrats because from the beginning, since Carter, they are pro-communist.
And we are here at the Rubio campaign. Polls close in most of Florida at 7 p.m.
That's right. Go vote. For now, live in Miami. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, y'all be safe. Thank you. Donald Trump's campaign is crying foul. Tonight, a judge, though, has refused to issue an order to seize ballots in a lawsuit filed by Trump's camp.
Yeah, the suit accuses a Nevada county of keeping polls open beyond closing time Friday. On Your Side's Julia Janae joins us now. And Julia, you can tell us a little bit more about this lawsuit.
Well, that's right, Anthony. One key thing to the judge's denial is that it doesn't get into whether or not rules were broken there in Clark County. The judge said from the bench today that a court order is not the way to handle this issue and that the Secretary of State would be the one who decides what happens next. Now, Trump's attorneys are arguing that there should have been a protocol where at closing time, a poll watcher walks to the back of the line to make sure no additional people get in line. Reportedly, these 4 polling locations in Nevada took their last vote 2 and 3 hours after the set closing time. A spokesperson for the county told CNN they were simply processing the people who were already in a very long line. Now, what could happen if there is a contested election is those early votes in the swing state of Nevada could come under scrutiny. For now, those polling locations continue to operate normally. Anthony, Jeannie.
All right, Julia Janae, thank you. First Coast News is on your side this election day, and right now we have a team answering your questions. Jeannie is over in the Information Center now with more. Jeannie.
That's right, Anthony. We've had dozens and dozens of calls all day, people asking all types of things. Sarah has been trying her best to answer these questions. What would you say is the #1 question we're getting now?
The #1 is where exactly can I vote? So it's pretty easy to look it up just based on your county, but that's been probably the #1. Everyone's going out there to vote.
And the clock is ticking down,
right? The
right?
clock is ticking. An hour, a little less than an hour left. So.
And what is the biggest concern, would you say, the biggest worry on people's minds?
The biggest worry is probably if they're registered in a specific county, can they vote in a different county? So they're just worried about if their vote will actually get counted.
And the voter turnout very high in Duval County and surrounding counties too. Well, I'll let you get back on the phone and tell that person we're sorry to interrupt the phone call. But if you have a question, anything that's on your mind, polls don't close until 7 o'clock, so there is still a little bit of time you can squeak by on 632-1200, and these folks will be happy to answer your questions. Anthony, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jeannie. And of course, our coverage does not end here. We have continuing coverage online, including live reports throughout the evening on NBC 12. We're following some breaking news at this hour as well. An autopsy finally released in the case of toddler Lundsey Barton. As you probably remember, the child went missing back in July of 2015. His body discovered last January. Well, now more than 9 months later, the medical examiner's report has been released. On Your Side's Ann Schindler joins us now with the latest. Ann.
Well, we have more information than we once had, but not all the answers we might like. The cause and the manner of death in this case remain undetermined. The medical examiner's report found multiple fractures to the child's bones, including traumatic injuries to 8 ribs and blunt force fractures to his skull. No drugs were found in his system, but that's not surprising given the condition of the mostly skeletal remains. Finding traces of drugs would be very difficult. Now, State Attorney Angela Corey has previously said that injuries to the boy's body, which could indicate abuse, could not be conclusively linked to his death. The last man to see him alive, his mom's boyfriend, Ruben Ebron, accepted a plea deal for child neglect, lying to police and tampering with evidence. He claims the boy drowned in the bathtub. He's currently serving 20 years in prison. Barton's mom, Lana Barton, is also in prison on child neglect charges and drug charges. And the state attorney's office says there's nothing in the report that would generate additional charges or change the case. Back to you.
And thank you for taking a look at that report tonight. Well, taking a look at some other top stories of the day, a change of leadership for one of our local school districts. St. Johns County voted in a new superintendent. Tim Forson, a longtime principal with the district, received all 5 votes from the school board. He most recently served as Deputy Superintendent of Operations. Forson was chosen over Vicki Cartwright, a senior director of the Orange County School District. 2 Nice High School students are in the hospital after a 3-car crash on US 1 in Ponte Vedra Beach. Florida Highway Patrol says 17-year-old Mackenzie Felmet failed to yield at the intersection just outside the school yesterday afternoon. She and 15-year-old Sydney Felmet are listed in critical condition. A 39-year-old man driving another car, we're told, is in serious condition tonight.
Well, still to come, take a look at this. Any idea what this is? We're going to show you a picture there. A veteran in St. Augustine knows exactly what it is, and he wishes he didn't. Plus, we continue to break down tonight's election. Political analyst John Daigle is in our studio to answer questions about this historic race tonight.